Hello there, good afternoon. This is Nationwide, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. I am Joseph Johnson. Many thanks for joining us. The leader of the House of Representatives, Mulikat Akonde-Adeola, has called on the incoming PDP members to note that being an opposition does not necessarily mean that they must oppose everything brought to the floor of the House by the ruling party. She made the call at an interactive dinner for the incoming and outgoing PDP members. Correspondent Aisha Zango Abdullahi has the detail.
While appreciating her colleagues for their support and indulgence throughout the last 4 years as she discharged her duties as leader of the House, Representative Mulikat Akonde-Adeola called on them to focus on how best to bring back the PDP on track again.
For those of my colleagues that are not returning, I urge us not to be discouraged, but to pick the bits and pieces of what came out of the recent election and re-strategize for the future.
Some of her colleagues applauded the House leader for her contribution to the success of the 7th House of Representatives.
I want to congratulate her for her wisdom, thank her for the opportunity of the leadership quality that she has demonstrated.
You said you stepped aside temporarily. I do not doubt that it is temporary, because your exemplary qualities are qualities that cannot stay below the radar for a very long time.
The interactive dinner was put together by the House leader with the aim of welcoming incoming members and to say thank you to her colleagues. In Abuja, Aisha Zango Abdullahi, NTA News.
The need for all Nigerians to join hands in bringing about a sustainable democracy and fostering unity amongst different political parties in the country was the crux of discourse on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. Discussants stressed the importance of political opposition to good governance. Correspondent Abdul Malik Adio monitored the program in our reports.
Opposition today has its roots in the 17th and 18th century political developments in Europe and America. The emergence of democratically elected government that evolved from the development necessarily made it imperative for the opposition to emerge.
The first thing that creates a sustainable opposition is free, fair elections. If elections are not free and fair, if elections are manipulated against the weaker group, then of course at the end of the day nobody will in the opposition party.
Opposition politics develops the qualities and brings out those strengths that these countries manifest in a rather subsumed manner. It must also be understood that in the practice of politics and democracy, we must go back to through which Aristotle stated that the best lies in the mean, and the mean is in the social contract.
The guest noted that in a properly functioning constitutional democratic system, there be a constant reminder to the populace that there is a viable alternative to the ruling group that can do better if given the opportunity.
After his return from a two-nation visit, President Muhammadu Buhari was at the Jumat prayer, Abuja, this Friday, the second since inauguration. Being accountable is a critical feature of a good leader, and lessons contained in the forthcoming holy month of Ramadan were the focus of today's Friday sermon. The sermon by the Deputy Chief Imam of the Abuja National Mosque, Ahmed Unilewura, had the Zamfara State Governor Abdulaziz Yari also in attendance. The Imam enjoined leaders to be responsible by having the interest of governed at heart at all times. He stressed the need for the congregation to respect their leaders and constituted authority and prayed for peace and unity of the country. This is the second Friday sermon attended by Nigeria's president after his inauguration on the 29th May, and this is the second to the last Friday before the commencement of 30-day Ramadan fast. Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended under the Bill of Rights, spelled out the fundamental obligation of the government, The same chapter also aligned duties of the citizen, among which include paying of tax promptly and giving total support to legitimate authorities. Correspondent Joseph Orok reports on the complementary role expected of Nigerians for the desired change.
A lot from Buhari administration.
Much has been spoken of the expectation of the Muhammadu Buhari-led administration. Although these expectations are in line with the inspiring promises of the APC during the electioneering campaigns, Nigerians indeed have a part to play.
We call on all Niger Deltans, in particular, and Nigerians, to exercise patience with Mr. President and give him time to settle down so as to enable him to actualize his campaign promises.
They should be active, they should be purposeful, they should be corrupt-free, they should have a sense of positive idea-generating mindset, because it is ideas that rule the world today.
We'll do our best and support the government and go with them, because young people, so we have to just respect them.
No political strategies can make the magic of development without having the support of the masses.
We should not give bribe and we should not take bribe.
On the whole, Nigerians are expected to be the change they want to see, just as the government is to show direction. In Abuja, Joseph Orok, nta.ng.
The President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Zainab Bokachua, has warned the Secretariat staff of all the election petition tribunals in the country to stay away from politicians in order not to compromise the petitions before them. She gave this warning for Secretariat staff of elections tribunals. Judiciary correspondent Femi Ukewu reports.
Coming about 3 weeks after election petition tribunals began to sit across the country, training for the Secretariat staff of election tribunals is meant to instill professional standards of practice in all the tribunals to enhance the decision of justice in election matters.
You shouldn't allow any political party or politician to compromise your integrity at any stage, and then do not allow yourselves to be used as tools to truncate the process.
Justice Mewada Abdullahi, a justice of the Appeal Just Division, delivered a paper on the duties of tribunal secretariat staff as defined by the Electoral Act.
We are here not only to hear paper presentation, but to exchange ideas so that together we can reach.
The training is a collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme support to democratic governance for development in Abuja. Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark the 2015 Environment Day, a renewed call has been made for all hands to be on deck to preserve, protect and effectively manage the abundant resources of the planet, starting from our immediate environment for sustainability. Joy Uzo was at a symposium organized by the Federal Ministry of Environment to commemorate the day in our reports.
Every year, the United Nations Environment Programme commemorates the World Environment Day on June 5 to raise awareness about environmental issues and call for action. The theme for this year is 7 billion dreams. Planet consumed with care. The general consensus on this symposium to commemorate the day in Nigeria on how they live.
We apologize for the poor audio quality in that report. Moving ahead now, as the world marks the 2015 World Environment Day, experts re-emphasized the need for tree planting as a major step towards sustaining its natural state. Correspondent Basi Itaikbang reports that tree planting campaign of the National Orientation Agency.
As part of the activities to mark the day in Nigeria, the National Orientation Agency took the tree planting campaign to carry children home in a bid to catch them young.
To begin to build an attitude and culture of environmental maintenance towards ensuring that they take ownership in government's initiative of making sure let our communities become green once again.
It's a message trying to, reach out to everyone in the world that be careful of your actions on the environment.
The importance of tree planting, they noted, cannot be overemphasized as it beautifies, protects, and provide economic value.
Beyond that, it can help us sustain our environment.
Trees act as carbon sinks, and trees absorb carbons, and when we have much trees, the environment is safer.
You cannot lose with the environment, especially in protecting it and preserving it by planting trees and some other environmental care and maintenance approaches.
Suleiman and Divine were excited to be part of the exercise and promised to nurture the trees planted in their school. Trees are of vital importance to the environment as they act as filters. Trees also have the ability to absorb toxins from the air, such as carbon dioxide, filter them, and return them as oxygen to the environment. In Abuja, Basi Taiba, NTA News.
Many thanks, Basi. There's no need stressing the importance of tree planting. Still talking environment, the Central Bank of Nigeria is journeying the breadth of the world to celebrate the 2015 World Environment Day in line with its principle of sustaining banking. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and other officials of the Apex Bank leveraged on the occasion to remind the world of the need for resource and energy efficiency in an ever-changing world. Correspondent Shikiola Ipinaye reports.
Marking the day with tree planting, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Emefiele, reminded the world of the need to preserve the environment efficiently and sustainably utilizing its resources. He cast the mind to the unending global environmental disasters and the grave consequences on the economy, of which Nigeria has a fair share.
We should therefore imbibe the culture of preserving our resources and being more efficient in its utilization.
The theme, 7 billion dreams, 1 planet, consumed with care, resonates the need for sustainable environment even in the face of struggles to actualize human dreams. This, the CBN says, remains its guiding principle in its environmental and social activities.
The Nigerian Sustainable Banking Principle is 9 overarching principles that are guiding us in our environmental and social activities. So it shows that whatever we do as a bank, we'll try as much as possible to protect the environment, protect human rights. Consume with care is that we need to consume resources such as water, food, energy, and other natural resources responsibly.
World Environment Day is celebrated every 5th of June to remind the world of their commitment to the environment and the need to sustain it. In Abuja, Shikiola Ipinaye, NTA News.
We now join our Lagos Network Center for an update on fire disaster at Iyana Ipaja, plus other stories from there. And Vera is our guide. Hello, Vera. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Joseph, and you too. Welcome to Lagos. Substandard diapers with a street value of more than 200 million naira have been impounded by the Standards Organization of Nigeria in Lagos. 3 Chinese nationals were also arrested in connection with the seizure. Amechi Pius has details.
The visit by officials of the Standards Organization of Nigeria to the shops where the Chinese businessmen conduct their illegal activities followed series of surveillance by the SON. The foreigners specialize in importing diapers suspected to be substandard and repackage the products with wrappers of popular brands and sell to the unsuspecting consumer.
And you can see very unhygienic condition, and when you use it can have a lot of reactions on the bodies of the children, and we begin to say what is the cause without knowing that this
here,
using this place as a hideout.
According to the agency's head of Inspectorate and Compliance, Bid Obayi, the imported diaper is not registered with the SON or any other regulatory agency in the country.
Our zero tolerance to substandard products is in place and we'll continue to pursue it. Anywhere, whether here in Lagos, Port Harcourt or Maiduguri, anywhere we see any of these substandard products, we're going to seize them.
The substandard diapers have since been evacuated while the culprits have been arrested and handed over to the police for further investigation. In Lagos, Amechi Pius, NTA News.
Landlords of the unfortunate Iyanekwajo tanker Inferno are yet to come to terms with the reality of becoming homeless. Jessica Mosite, who visited the scene, reports that tenants and shop owners are still wailing over their burnt wares and property, as commercial activities are also gradually picking up in the area.
And those whose shops and houses were not affected in the incident, it was business as usual, as they thanked God that the evil passed over them.
When I got to broke my shop in order to people helping me to bring things out.
I really thank God. We really thank God because we didn't even expect the fire is not going to reach here.
It, however, was a sorrowful ordeal for those hit by the incident, as they remained confused over the shock and trauma of economic downturn.
Even it's just my car that I put on in that night that inside my body. All this one I put on now, it is just a friend that dashed me.
I'm getting this place now. There's fire everywhere, so I declare that everything has gone burnt.
The evil tanker skidded off the bridge, emptying its contents around midnight on Monday, resulting in the socio-economic and emotional crisis for those affected. In Lagos, Jessica Moses, NTA News.
Poor maintenance culture and drilling of roads by telecommunication companies are some of the reasons responsible for bad roads in Lagos State. Ken Egbelue in this report examines the situation of bad roads which are giving motorists a nightmare in the state.
This road is called Outer Marina. It stretches from Marina Bridge down to the Nigerian Army 81 Division Officers' Mess leading to Victoria Island. Before now, motorists used to drive on the road with relative ease. But the case is different presently, as this portion of the road was cut during a construction work and was not properly fixed, making it difficult for motorists to ply the road. Some motorists spoke on their experiences.
It slows down your driving, basically.
It damages cars all the time.
Another road that is gradually becoming a source of concern to motorists and residents is the Hamadu Bello Way on Victoria Island. Motorists find it hard driving through this portion of the road, which is yet to be completed by the relevant authorities. Sometimes last year, the Lagos State government, through its direct labor initiative, embarked on the rehabilitation work on the road, but it was later abandoned. This bad portion of the road have continued to obstruct free flow of traffic.
The road is so bad, and we are calling it VI.
There are potholes. These things are not good. It could be damaging our vehicles.
The road is not good at all. It's even damaging our keke.
Motorists have, however, appealed to the Lagos State government and other relevant authorities to commence repair work on the remaining portion of the road on Hamadu Bello Way on Victoria Island, Outer Marina Road, and other similar roads in the state. In Lagos, Ken Egbeluge, NTA News.
Speakers at a round table on pension reform administration have described the contributory pension scheme as successful, with its funds safe and secured, in addition to making positive impact on the nation's economy. They expressed this view while reviewing the performance of the scheme, which came into being in 2004. The scheme has accumulated 4.7 trillion naira with a total of 6.5 million employees. The report. Decades of plight of retirees informed the Pension Reform Act of 2004, which was repealed by Pension Reform Act of 2014 to make provision for uniform contributory pension scheme for public and private sectors. The objective was to empower workers and encourage savings culture for old age. After 10 years, the speakers agreed that the scheme, which has won public confidence by its administration, is also safe, as the accumulated assets are invested in the traditional zero-risk financial investment. The speaker suggested ways to consolidate the gains of the scheme and other innovations to strengthen it.
While the person is still working,
it means that his RSA is able to contribute to the provision of housing, and it's going to change the dynamics of mass housing in Nigeria.
Even though we are saying that the system has worked well in the last 10 years, there are further bolstered sanctions such that those who are being involved in infractions, they are now able to bring in stricter regulations to control them.
The accumulated pension assets have continued to impact positively on the nation's economy through investments. The roundtable was organized by the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. And that report ends our contribution from Lagos. Joseph is back to you for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Vera. The federal government has appealed to the striking members of the Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals in the Federal Medical Center, Owerri, to respect the agreement reached with the management of the Federal Ministry of Health on a desirable approach in settling their grievances. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Linus Awute, made the appeal at a press briefing in Abuja. He called practical avenues explored to make the striking union's national executive see the need for amicable solution.
Striking workers who are supposed to be grateful to their creator for being so fortunate to be on the payroll of government has become very embarrassing in the face of millions of other qualified Nigerian citizens looking for gainful employment out there.
The Permanent Secretary reiterated that the management is determined to apply sanctions on cases of unsatisfactory conduct using the public service rules. The Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, has mandated the Police Works Department to commence building of 500 units of modern and cost-effective houses in each of the 12 police zones and to be completed within 6 months. The IGP gave the directive during a one-day workshop for officers in the Works Department held at the Force Headquarters in Abuja. He expressed displeasure over shoddy projects being carried out in the past and called for the review of the past activities of the department to meet up required standards. Meanwhile, the ongoing onslaught against criminal gangs in the country received a boost with the arraignment of 129 suspects for offences ranging from kidnapping, cultism, murder and armed robbery at the Chief Magistrate Special Grade F Court in Benin. The Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, disclosed this while restating his resolve to ensure ends of justice for victims of crime in Nigeria. He also warned criminals to shun crime or face the full wrath of the law. The Supreme Court has set aside the judgments of High Court which ordered Alhaji Ado Ibrahim to vacate the stool of Ohinoyi of Ibera land. This judgment therefore means that Alhaji Ado Ibrahim holds on to the office of the paramount ruler of Ibera land.
Two lower courts had previously dethroned Alhaji Ado Ibrahim. The Kogi State High Court on the 3rd of April 2006 and the Court of Appeal, which was then presided over by Justice Dahiru Mustafa on the 2nd of January 2009. They all had based their judgment on the process of his appointment on the 2nd of January 1997, which the court said violated the regulations and processes of appointing the Ohinoyi. But at the final leg of appeal by Ado Ibrahim, the Supreme Court said the lower court lacked the jurisdiction to even look into the merit of the case, since at the time the case was instituted, the case was already statute barred. The position of the Supreme Court is that the law provides for such cases to be instituted latest 3 months after the act. In this case, the plaintiffs challenged Ado Ibrahim's appointment 9 months after, making it to be caught up by the limitation law. The court therefore set aside the order of dethronement of the lower courts.
One of the grounds upon which the judgment is based is that grant that the case was not commenced within 3 months as provided for by the Public Protections Act.
The facts supporting our argument on statute bar were already in the pleadings from the trial court, even though it was not specifically made out as a case before the trial court and the Court of Appeal. But when we came into this matter, we felt it was an issue we should raise before their lordships, and their lordships agreed with us.
So now, after 17 years in court, Alhaji Ado Ibrahim can now comfortably continue as the Ohinoi of Ibra land by virtue of the ruling of the land's apex court. From the Supreme Court, Femi Okewu, NTA News.
Thank you, Femi. Resident doctors of Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital embark on strike. Details of this and others as we link up with Amin in our Kaduna studio. Hello, Amin. It's over to you.
Hello and good afternoon. Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai of Kaduna State said his administration will respect the independence of the judiciary. He stated this when he paid a visit on the Chief Judge of the state. Correspondent Muhammad Lawal Baba reports.
Governor Nasir El-Rufai said the judiciary, being an important arm of the government, must be respected and supported for it to discharge its responsibilities of dispensing justice in the state. He said his administration will work assiduously with stakeholders to decongest the prisons across the state.
The Chief Judge has already started an initiative to go around the prisons and consider cases of minor offenses or inmates that have been in detention far beyond what sentences they would have had if they had been brought before a court of law. So that initiative is going on. All we are going to do is to support the Chief Judge in giving effect to that.
The governor also promised to improve the welfare of the staff of judiciary. Chief Judge of Kaduna State, Tanimu Zailani, said there has been a good working relationship between the executive and the judiciary, and appealed to the state government for additional cadis and judges for quick dispensation of justice. In another development, Governor El-Rufai paid an unscheduled visit to Barau Dikko Specialist Hospital. He speaks on the purpose of his visit.
I'm quite pleased. People of Kaduna would have access to these machines by tomorrow.
In Kaduna, Muhammad Lawal Baba, NTA News.
Resident doctors of Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital Zaria have embarked on indefinite strike following the inability of management of the hospital to pay their full salaries as directed by the federal government. Correspondent Sagir Muhammad Awal has the details.
The President, Association of Resident Doctors, Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital, Shika, Dr. Tuko Moses, noted that the strike became imperative in view of the way the hospital selectively paid inmates their legitimate salaries since January this year. He said the federal government has adequately cash-backed the hospital to pay doctors' salaries in full, but they refused to comply.
We have been negotiating over a year now. You will see from our publications it's over 12 months of painful negotiations. And what broke the camel's back is that if we cannot get our salaries, then perhaps we cannot save for anything else.
Lamented the poor standard of training and facilities for treatment of patients in the hospital. Reacting, the Chief Medical Director, Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital, Professor Lawal Khalid, said the hospital was unable to pay the doctors in full due to the shortfalls of money.
Money being sent to ABU is in deficit. In other words, there is shortfall. And that budget office will be willing to assist. So they asked us to make another computation of all the monies that are required to pay 100% of the eligibility allowance in ABU Teaching Hospital. We have done so. We have submitted to the budget office of the Federation, and we are following up closely to make sure that the required funds are released so that we can effect payment 100%.
He called on the resident doctors to exercise patience as management is making effort with relevant authorities to ensure full compliance. Professor Kali noted that despite the strike, the hospital provides medical care services to its patients. In Zaria, I'm Sagir Muhammad Awal, NTA News.
A cross-section of people have emphasized the need to continue to consolidate on the gains of the National Youth Service Scheme. This was their views at the swearing-in of the Batch A Stream 2 Corps members posted to Kaduna State. Correspondent Indiang and Diabagyang completes this report.
I shall, at all times and in all places, think, regard myself, and speak first as a Nigerian.
The oath of national service marks the beginning of service year for these corps members who have obeyed the clarion call to lift the nation high in accordance with the aim of the scheme established 42 years ago. But beyond the ceremonies and service year, how has the scheme fared so far?
It's wonderful, and for me, by assessment, it's progress. Achieve a lot of credible and laudable results.
However, not without challenges.
Then, of course, again, the insecurity has affected the ability of NYSC to deploy its men and women to all the corners of Nigeria.
In spite of these challenges, the NYSC has remained committed to the ideals of the nation. President Muhammadu Buhari, in his address presented by representative of Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, said his administration will soon unveil a comprehensive national youth empowerment program anchored on the model provided by the NYSC.
As a globally recognized scheme, the roles of corps members as change agents will be properly articulated.
The Kaduna State Coordinator, Hilary Nasamo, a representative of the Chairman, NYC Governing Board, Jonah Gandu, said programs are put in place to provide requisite skills for national development. Corps members, numbering over 2,000, sent to Kaduna State, look forward to a more united Nigeria. In Kaduna, I am Indenyan Andiabagyang, NTA News.
The Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, has cautioned road users against reckless driving to reduce road accidents to the barest minimum in Nigeria. He was speaking at the Sensitization Forum for Commercial Drivers in Kaduna. Correspondent Garba Muhammad Natala reports.
Targeted stakeholders in the road transport, particularly road users, to sensitize them on the dangers of reckless driving on the roads. The Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, represented by the Deputy Corps Marshal Operations Ade Abu, said overspeeding is the major cause of road accidents in Nigeria. He cautioned the road users to avoid it and ensure they obey traffic regulations while driving.
Go to all lengths to ensure that we educate drivers as well as the passengers to also know their responsibility, because we do know that some passengers are also contributing to road accidents.
Representative of Governor of Kaduna State, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works and Transport, Jafar Saidu, said the state government will ensure that roads are in good condition as plans are in place to relocate all illegal motor parks to their designated places.
The state government has already started taking steps by taking stock of these illegal motor parks.
There were goodwill messages from representatives of NURTW, NATO, among others. In Kaduna, Garba Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
And that does it. Back to Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Amin. You are watching NTA News Nationwide. Let's pause here to take some messages. Please join us again.
This is to inform ministries, departments, agencies of the federal government, state and local governments, corporate bodies, private organizations, embassies, diplomatic missions, and individuals interested in the official portrait of the President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo to apply to the Federal Ministry of Information for soft copies of the portraits at no cost. Applications should be sent to the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information, Radio House, Abat Macaulay Way, Garki, Abuja, or Veronica Adeyemo at fedcs.gov.ng or Marcos Amioleme at fedcs.gov.ng. For further inquiries, contact Mr. Peter Dama, Director, Protocol and Public Relations, or call 080-3318-4875 or 080-5967-3861. Announcer Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information.
Come to Sharon Ultimate Hotels, Abuja, the ultimate place to be.
The Nigerian Television Authority, in partnership with the Albino Foundation, celebrate the maiden edition of the UN International Albinism Awareness Day on 13th June 2015. The International Albinism Awareness Day, aimed at reducing human rights abuses against persons with albinism, will feature an albinism walk, workshop, gala night, and lots more. Be part of this. Sponsor this noble cause. For sponsorship details, please call
I believe in my country. The time is here and now to spread the message of hope across the land. Stay together as one. All the obstacles would disappear. Let's open up our hearts. Let's open up our eyes and cherish this piece of the earth that God has given us. I believe in my country.
Television College JOS, the leading institution in television broadcasting training in Nigeria, offers you the opportunity to become a professional broadcaster.
On the news tonight,
available courses: 2 years diploma course in television journalism, television production, and television engineering. The college also offers short courses for a period of 6 to 8 weeks in the following areas: basic television journalism, political reporting, online journalism, basic television production, camera operation techniques, basic television presentation, non-linear editing, animation, videography and photography, professional makeup techniques, research and marketing techniques, advanced lighting energy conservation, advanced web design technology, satellite and DSNG equipment maintenance. Our courses are open to media personnel in public and private television stations, corporate organizations, state and federal parastatals, tertiary institutions, and interested individuals. We have molded many. Come and join the list of the professionals for a rewarding future. For details, please call 08037 216725 0803 594 1444. Email television.college@yahoo.com. Announcer Management.
Nation building is a task of extreme importance. The implementation of the policies and the attainment of the set goals are a function of governance. On our weekly show, The Weekend File, we examine the process of achieving these goals in a transformation era. It's all about development. It's all about news, views, and analysis. It's Weekend File, your weekend companion, showing live 9 p.m. Saturdays on NTA network service. It's unmissable.
Many thanks for staying with us. 2,185 corps members deployed to Gombe State were recently sworn in at Duse. The alternative camp is to ensure the safety of the corps members during their orientation course. Correspondent Salisu Aminu reports.
These 2,513 Batch A Stream 2 Corps members posted to the Federal Capital Territory are among the first set to be sworn in nationwide under the new administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. The president, whose address was read by Permanent Secretary FCT John Chukwu, told the corps members that while the federal government is committed to evolving innovative empowerment programs to guarantee their economic well-being and self-reliance, they must brace up and be ready to make contributions for national development.
We must embrace attitudinal change. We must exercise self and personal discipline and the courage to do the right things at the right time. Greed, laziness, and lure of quick money without corresponding effort breed corruption and other vices. I therefore urge you to be well guided at all times.
Receive the corps members, take care of their welfare, and make sure that they empower them to experience work.
Through this tug-of-war exercise, the corps members are already beginning to imbibe the spirit of teamwork.
Actually, it's worth it. I've learned a lot for the past 3-4 days I've been in this camp.
I will use my ability and my strength to serve this country and to move it to a greater height.
They are optimistic about setting the pace for the much desired change in the country. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
The National Hajj Commission has reaffirmed its commitment to work in synergy with all relevant stakeholders to ensure successful Hajj and Umrah operations in 2015 and years ahead. The chairman of the commission, Abdullahi Muhammad Mukhtar, stated this when he received the leadership of Association of Hajj and Umrah Operations of Nigeria. Correspondent Aliyu Kabir has details.
For about a decade, Hajj and Umrah operations have been witnessing marked improvement, especially in terms of preparations and the general operations. This perhaps has significantly improved bilateral relationship between Nigeria and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which brought about the enhancement in the general welfare of pilgrims, ranging from the acquisition of befitting accommodation of the Nigerian pilgrims, feeding arrangement, transportation, and healthcare service delivery. The desire for the improvement in the provision of consular, spiritual, as well as welfare of pilgrims and other matters was the reason for the visit by the Association of Hajj and Umrah Operators.
People are no longer stranded when going for Hajj. We now have better accommodation, better facilities. Even those outside, they appreciate that now. Perhaps we are talking of period now of consolidation. That is why we are here.
Represented by the Commissioner Operations of the Hajj Commission, the chairman commended the association for identifying themselves with the commission. He urged them to expedite action in educating the pilgrims to know their rights, duties, and obligations during the Hajj and Umrah operations.
I would like to seize this opportunity to appeal to you, the leaders of AHUN, to continue to support the leadership and cause of the board of NACOL.
The commission assured Nigerians of a hitch-free Hajj and Umrah operations. In Abuja, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
Meanwhile, implementation of the Millennium Development Goals (MDGs) will be winding up in July, while a new order, Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs), is to be launched in September in New York, United States. That is why the Learn Share Network, a civil society organization, is raising awareness about the post-2015 development agenda and pulling ideas together to enrich the policy content and framework of the SDGs. Correspondent Chimdimma Ndubisi reports.
With just a month to end the implementation of the Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, adopted by world leaders in the year 2000 to, among other things, eradicate poverty, improve health, education, and sustain the environment, Nigeria and some other developing countries have been rated to have implemented up to 80% of the MDGs. On the other hand, developed countries have fully reached the MDGs, giving rise to the need for a switch to the Sustainable Development Goals.
Not long from now, the United Nations system and member states will negotiate and adopt one universal set of 17 proposed Sustainable Development Goals with 169 associated targets. A new framework for sustainable financing of the development, and a new universal climate agreement with specific climate action. To ensure deeper and lasting economic and human progress, the architecture of the post-2015 development agenda calls for a rethink and redesign of development policy framework.
What we're doing is to help through this kind of platform to bring those who understand, who have the policy, to come and break it down in a very simple and understandable way so that ordinary people can actually know. At the end of each forum, we have a summary which itemizes very clear, very simple action plans, pure bullet points, and these are taken to legislators, to committees, and to government and to policymakers.
Sustainable Development Goals, which contain integrated approach to economic, social, and environmental issues, also incorporate the private sector as a central partner in achieving the goals. Hence, the call for corporate businesses to form policies that have global sustainability responsibilities with the full participation of the government, media, and civil society organizations. In Abuja, Chimdemma Ndubisi, NTA News.
The new Ebonyi state government reduced school fees paid in higher institutions as the state governor cancels the appointment of 16 permanent secretaries. Well, details from Chinyere Okoye in Enugu Studios. Hello, Chinyere.
Thank you, Joseph, and welcome. The governor of Ebonyi State, Chief Dave Umahi, has directed the immediate reversal of the appointment of 16 permanent secretaries appointed at the twilight of the last administration. He gave the directive at an interactive session with labor leaders and the Christian Association of Nigeria, Ebonyi State chapter in Abakaliki. Chinaza John reports.
Also ordered for the sack of the general manager of the Ebonyi State Environmental Protection Agency, EPSEPA, Dr. Okesi Oke, the director of the same agency, and the termination of the environment contracts of contractors who are found wanting in keeping the environment clean. Chief Dave Umahi expressed deep concern about the lean resources of the state and called on the labor leaders to make sacrifices for the state, just as himself and the principal officers of government have had their emoluments slashed by 50%.
Has increased the wage bill at the state level by 450 million and at the local government by 1 billion. So the local government cannot function.
The chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Ebonyi State Council, and other labor leaders promised to align with government programs and policies to move the state forward.
So I think it's a task for all of us to come together and make sure that we are able to succeed.
Meanwhile, a committee which will be chaired by the Deputy Governor, Dr. Kelechi Iwe, is to be set up to look at ways of improving the internally generated revenue of the government and block all possible financial leakages in the state. In Abakaliki, Chinaza John, NTA News.
Governor Dave Umahi has promised to reduce the school fees paid by some higher institutions in the state. The governor made the promise during an interactive session with staff and students of the Ebonyi State University at the College of Agricultural Science campus, Abakaliki. Again, Chinaza John reports.
Other pledges made by the governor include solving of the electricity and water problems of the university, provision of more hostels, construction of a pedestrian crossing at the permanent site, gazetting the staff of the university to enable them enjoy pension and gratuity after active service, and supporting the university to increase its revenue generation. Governor Umahi said his administration will be very hard on cultism and corruption.
We'll be fighting all manner of crime, both in the university and in our society.
The Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Francis Idike, listed the challenges confronting the university to include relocation of more faculties to the permanent site, example, inadequate welfare for staff and students, lack of staff quarters, and the reduction in the revenue profile of the university.
It appears unbelievable, but it is true that no staff of Ebonyi State University has an opportunity of taking pension or gratuity in the do today.
Students on their part expressed concern on the hike in school fees and appealed to the state government to construct a good road network to the permanent site of the university in Abakaliki. Chinaza John, NTA News.
The Enugu State Governor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, has appealed to the Federal Road Safety Corps to ensure the effective enforcement of the speed limit device in the country. Governor Ugwuanyi made the appeal when he visited some accident victims at our Saviour Hospital, 9th Mile Corner, Ngo.
The governor expressed worry over lack of patience by commercial drivers, which most times accounts for 90% of road crashes. Some of the victims of the road accidents that occurred recently at Onyama Mine, who are students, are currently receiving treatment at our Saviour Hospital, 9th Mile. The governor promised the victims that government will be responsible for their medical bills.
We understand that 3 people died in the accident.
Yes, died in the mortuary.
We'll do our best. We thank God.
Governor Ugwuanyi also visited and paid the medical bills of some of the patients on admission at the hospital, especially a woman who delivered a baby through cesarean section and was allegedly abandoned by her husband for over 2 months. The governor thanked the management of the hospital for its efforts in attending to patients irrespective of its poor financial state. In Enugu, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
And it's back to you, Joseph, for the continuation of Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Many thanks, Chinyere. Observers of the nation's economy are hoping that President Buhari administration would serve the people of Nigeria better in economic, given his determination to serve the country selflessly and the eagerness of the member of the 8th Assembly to also bring about change in the life of the nation. Senator Itainang, Chairman Business and Rules in the 7th Assembly, and Senator Kaira Gwadabe, Chairman Senator Forum in the last retreat for 8th Assembly, stated these on NTA Current Affairs program, Moment for Thought.
It is challenges that brings up the opportunities and bring out the potentialities in a man or in a government. And Nigeria is not going to have the excess crude that it used to have.
Yes.
And so we're not going to have toxic funds that collapses the real funds.
The new crop of legislators coming in, majority of them flew in on the wings of change. And they have come with a renewed determination to do something different.
Moment for Thought comes up tonight at 11 p.m. on NTN Network Service. And now to sports. Nigeria's Super Falcons in high spirit ahead of the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup in Canada as Barcelona and Juventus get set for the UEFA Champions League final in Berlin Saturday. These and more with Ayodeji Makinde on Sports Update.
African champions, the Super Falcons, have stepped up preparation in Winnipeg ahead of the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup, which kickstarts on Saturday in Canada. The players arrived to a reception by FIFA officials and the Nigerian community as they bid to hit the ground running with a win against Sweden in their first match on June the 8th. Meanwhile, the Black Satellites of Ghana became the first African country to qualify for the round of 16 of the New Zealand World Youth Championship after a lone goal victory over Panama on Friday. Emmanuel Boateng scored in the 82nd minute as Ghana finished top of Group B ahead of Austria and Argentina.
Could be fatal to their hopes. Can they finish here, Ghana? Here's the chance, and there's the goal. That's the goal that's going to send Panama home, almost certainly.
Barcelona and Juventus.
Many thanks, Ayo Deji. And that's it on Nationwide for today. Thank you very much indeed for your company. I am Joseph Johnson. Good afternoon.